I woke up to the soft morning light streaming through my bedroom blinds, casting golden ribbons across the comforter. My phone buzzed on the nightstand beside me, and I smiled sleepily, already aware of what day it was. July 10th, my birthday. But excitement wasn't exactly in the air. At 37, birthdays didn't hold the same sparkle anymore. My husband and I had separated last year. My daughter, Lindsay, was away attending a summer program in Oregon, and most of my friends were either out of town or caught up in their own busy lives. I decided to keep it low-key this year. Maybe a glass of wine, a movie, and an early bedtime. Still, I checked my phone, hoping someone had remembered. A few messages came in, one from my sister, one from a coworker, and a group chat notification I rarely responded to. That was all. I sighed and got out of bed, brushing my tousled dark hair into a loose bun and slipping on my robe. I padded into the kitchen and started the coffee maker, doing my best to ignore how quiet the house felt. Just another day, I told myself. Just another number. I reminded myself to be grateful for my health, for my home, for the calm. But the truth was, it stung. Birthdays weren't supposed to feel this lonely. Taking my coffee outside, I sat on the front porch as the early summer breeze gently touched my skin. The view from my little Denver house was peaceful. Birds chirped from the trees lining the street, and the lawns around the neighborhood were neatly trimmed. Next door, the Martinez family was already up and moving. I spotted their son, Jason, unloading bags of soil from his mom's car. He must have been 23 or 24 now, tall with sandy brown hair that always looked just a little charmingly messy. There was something about the confidence of youth that made women my age pause and wonder what it felt like to live so freely again. "Morning, Mrs. Kent," he called when he spotted me, waving as he hoisted a heavy bag of potting soil. "Good morning, Jason," I replied with a smile. "Helping your mom with the garden again?" "She's on a mission," he said with a laugh, wiping sweat from his brow. "She's determined to win Yard of the Month." He wore a faded Colorado State t-shirt that clung to his chest and a pair of ripped jeans. He looked like someone straight out of a backyard barbecue magazine. "Well, tell her she's got my vote," I said with a chuckle, sipping my coffee. Jason tilted his head slightly. "Hey, isn't today your birthday?" I raised my eyebrows, surprised. "Wow, you remembered?" "Of course," he grinned. "Facebook told me." I laughed. The magic of social media. He set down the bag and walked over, stopping at the bottom of the porch steps. "Seriously though, you doing anything fun today?" I hesitated, then gave a small shrug. "Not really. Just keeping it simple. No cake, no dinner plans. Just me, myself, and I." I smiled, trying not to let the disappointment slip through. Jason looked at me for a moment, thoughtful. "That doesn't seem right. Birthdays should be celebrated." "Well, I appreciate you saying that." He glanced around, then leaned in a little closer. "Okay, don't go anywhere. I have an idea." I blinked. "What kind of idea?" He just smiled a little mischievously. "Trust me. Give me a couple of hours." And with that, he jogged back to his driveway and disappeared into the Martinez house. I sat there, a bit bewildered and quietly amused. What on earth was he planning? Shaking my head with a soft laugh, I headed back inside. By noon, I'd showered and put on a flowy sundress, just for me, even if I had nowhere to go. I was tidying up the living room when the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Jason standing there with a bright smile and a small box in his hands. "Happy birthday," he said, holding it out to me. "Oh, Jason, you didn't have to get me anything." "I didn't have to," he said, "but I wanted to." Inside the box was a delicate necklace with a tiny sunflower pendant. I gasped softly. "This is really sweet." "I remembered you said sunflowers were your favorite," he said a bit shyly. "Back when you helped my mom pick seeds for the garden last spring." "You remembered that?" I asked, touched. "Of course." He rubbed the back of his neck, a little bashful. "That's not all. I made lunch. Come over." I blinked again. "You made lunch?" He nodded. "I cook sometimes. I'm not saying it's gourmet, but I promise it's edible." I couldn't help but smile. "You're really doing all this for me?" "You're a good neighbor and a kind person," he said simply. "I figured someone should make your birthday feel special." Still stunned, I followed him next door. The moment I stepped inside the Martinez house, the air was filled with the rich aroma of garlic and fresh basil. The dining table was dressed with a plain white tablecloth, a few candles, and a small bouquet of wildflowers in a mason jar. 2 plates of steaming pasta, pesto fettuccine with grilled chicken, were ready. "This is amazing," I said, genuinely moved. He pulled out a chair for me. "Bon appetit, birthday girl." We sat, we ate, we talked. Strangely, it wasn't awkward, not even with the 14-year age gap. Jason had a natural ease about him, the kind that made anyone feel comfortable. He told me stories about school, how he was planning a move to Austin, and his part-time job at a music store. I shared about Lindsay, my work, and my recent passion for photography. After lunch, we moved to the patio with glasses of lemonade. The sky was a flawless blue, and laughter echoed from nearby homes, but it felt like we were in a peaceful bubble of our own. We didn't speak much, just sat quietly. Then Jason turned to me and said something that caught me off guard. "I know this might sound strange, but I've always thought you were pretty incredible." I blinked. "What?" "You've been through a lot. Raising Lindsay mostly on your own, running your business, staying strong. I admire that." I didn't know what to say. Compliments from someone younger, especially someone like Jason, hit differently. They felt sincere, unexpected. I swallowed, unsure how to respond. He laughed lightly. "Sorry. Didn't mean to make it awkward." "No," I said quickly. "You didn't. That was really kind." There was a pause, a quiet shift in the air, the kind you feel deep in your chest. Jason leaned in slightly, his gaze soft. "I'm glad I got to spend today with you." "Me too," I whispered. And then, to my surprise, he reached for my hand. His fingers were warm and steady. I didn't pull away. We stayed like that for a long time, just holding hands, letting the summer breeze wrap around us like a warm blanket. It wasn't romantic in a dramatic way. There were no grand gestures or declarations. But it was real, gentle, comforting, and deeply understood. By the time I returned home that evening, there was a smile on my face that wouldn't leave. Jason hadn't tried to kiss me. He hadn't crossed any lines. He simply made me feel seen, celebrated, remembered. And in a world where birthdays often blur into routine, that feeling was the most precious gift of all. Later that night, sitting on my bed and watching the sunflower pendant catch the lamplight, I thought about how much small acts can mean. I hadn't expected anything from today. But Jason, my neighbor's son, gave me a memory I'd treasure forever. And for the first time in years, my birthday actually felt like something worth celebrating.